The pack had settled here only a few moons before. They were finally adjusting to the new land, and thriving.
Isn't it a sight, my son? I've never seen the pack so lively in such a long time, he arfed.
Memphis's ears pivoted to Thornak. You did well. His tail tapped against the roof. Large hunting grounds, happy wolves.
Indeed. Yet we have not even stepped a paw onto the other lands that touch our own now. Shall we have a glance?
Memphis made a sound as he nodded. They'd be cloaked in the cover of darkness. It was a good time to explore.
Let's make haste. He stood and padded off for his son to follow.
He paused at the road, eyes pinning onto the distant moor. His nose twitched. It smells like cats. Do you think that's where they come from?
Perhaps. Explains why they even travel to the rock. Leave them be if they do the same. Oh, and speaking of some felines, there's some over there. Seems your assumption was correct, son.
He nodded. So far, anytime they've ran into cats heading to the moonstone, they seem to have formed a silent truce. If the cats leave them alone, the wolves would leave them alone in turn. Perhaps we shouldn't hunt this way, Memphis noted, though obvious.
Indeed. Too much trouble for such a little prey in exchange. Let's return to our packmates. I'd rather not have them fighting again with my absence.
Memphis settled outside the den the pack had chosen to shelter in. He heard mumbling in the distance. He watched the night-gathering wolves. Anything new? He'd grumble, eyeing Memphis.
Duko's gaze glossed over to Memphis in her peripheral vision. That light gray pelt similar to hers was unmistakably stark with the moonlight. Oh yes, they'd been out recently.
Memphis gave a small sniff and greeting. Settling in for the night?
Much the same as you, they chuckled. I'm done stargazing for now.
He'd nod. He hadn't done much today, but rest was always positive to him. I'm ready to rest for tonight.
I'll go ahead and round everyone up. Saves Thornak the trouble.
I'm right here, Cricket mumbled. She grinned nervously.
Shall we rest? She arfed softly, her voice carrying in the surrounding area.
He turned, padding back to his pack. Indeed, slumber is our next task for us all. Let's pack into the den. He woofed leader-like.
As the pack began to trot by, Memphis's fur rose as a familiar sound stretched over the hills. He squinted. Howling?
He stared into the sky. As his ears pinned, he instinctively howled in return to warn the other ones off who dare howl near.
She glanced around, counting her pack. That's, really close.
Duko whipped towards the horizon, and her eyes pinched. As Thornak howled, it was almost second nature for her to turn her howl to the sky.
Memphis followed, howling with the strength of his entire body. There were other wolves? How? Following the leader, he opened his mouth to enforce Thornak's warning. Once he felt his throat run dry, he retreated into the den.
He huffed, seemingly that would be a good enough warning, and padded back to the den.
She followed suit.
He waited for a moment. Maybe the other wolves would respond. He watched as the others retreated back inside. Laying down, Memphis couldn't get the sounds of the distant howls out of his mind. Suddenly, it didn't seem so peaceful anymore. He could only hope they didn't come this way.
The wolf stirred from his slumber, doing a very wolf-like yawn, shaking his fur, and scanned over his pack before padding out for the day.
Duko rose with the morning sun, scanning over its packmates and idly huffing a good morning to whoever could hear, which likely included Memphis.
Memphis nodded a greeting, leaving the den quickly.
He looked to his son, basking in the sunlight. Nothing showed itself last night. Good. He'd rather keep it that way. Now then, hunting is something we need to organize for today.
He looked to Thornak with his ears perked. He'd like to go hunting.
Now then, Koda, you will go with Cricket over towards his ears perked, seeing something approach. He took one sniff as his muzzle tensed. Who do you think you are, coming to our territory, strays? He snarled the last bit, baring his fangs.
A low, rumbling snarl was bubbling from their throat, but they held their breath in respect to Thornak. How bold.
The large she-wolf stepped into camp confidently, tilting her chin up. She got straight to the point. I suppose you're the alpha of this pack? What? No warm welcome?
Memphis looked to Thornak, searching for something in his gaze. Maybe if he found enough confidence, he could take it for himself, but for now he was terrified.
Hiro stood behind the canine, his large figure and dark pelt in contrast with Freyja as they stood next to her. He said nothing during the conversation, just grinning.
Not for ones who don't even answer a question. Who are you? And what do you want? His eyes narrowed with a huff.
I am Freyja, and I'm here to take this pack for my own, she snarled, baring her teeth. I am here to challenge you for your title as alpha.
Memphis stifled a growl. That's not how this works, and there's many more wolves in our pack.
I refuse. This is not how this pack runs, nor has any pack before it. I do not step down to your foolish demands, and I will have to demand you both leave, he arfed with a growl.
I don't think you understand. Freyja leapt at Thornak. Who are you to throw us out of a forest if you're dead?
Memphis seemed to freeze, letting out a whine. He looked at Duko, begging it to do something.
They shared the pained glance with Memphis. All she could do was shake her head slowly. It was not their place to interfere.
He growled, as he used his hind legs to topple them both off the sandbags. I am Thornak, you mutt!
She growled, scrambling to her paws and rushing forward. Her teeth just missed his scruff as she spun around.
He snarled, lashing his fangs now into their torso as they left themselves wide open, sinking his teeth into his fur.
Memphis lifted a paw, wanting to step in, but knowing well he'd be killed. Duko, do something! He whined.
Having watched vigilantly at the duel with the lingering tightness in her eyes, they let out a commanding bark. No, Memphis! Your father has the upper hand!
Freyja snapped at him, her growl breaking into a whine. Surely she couldn't lose this fast. He thrashed out of his grip, stumbling back and glaring at him.
He licked his muzzle as his glare hardened on the she-wolf, as he spoke with a commanding bark. Give up and flee, if you truly have an ounce of intelligence under that furball you are.
Despite the wound on her side and the blood splattered on the ground beside her, she smiled. You forget yourself, Alpha, Freyja snarled. I'm not the only one with a set of teeth.
Hiro knew very well to wait, but they played dirty. This rank was for the both of them. At the sound of her call, they lunged forward, jaws clamping onto the bluish-gray fur until he tasted blood.
Freyja darted forward as Hiro tackled them, tearing at Thornak's throat. She lifted her head again, her white muzzle now stained red.
He let out a pained whine, but before he could even retaliate, his throat felt the fangs dig into it, tearing out from him and suffocating in his own blood, swiftly falling limp.
Memphis felt his body run cold. Hiro's intervention happened so fast, and before Memphis could react, Thornak was mauled.
What? Had Freyja no honor? Duko spat in disgust at the foul play. Part of her wondered what she looked like in Memphis's eyes. What a poor, naive fool she was for thinking Freyja would play fair. You despicable mutt!
Hiro stepped off the now unconscious Alpha, shaking off the blood from his paw with a casual smirk. Light work.
Do you want to be next? She spun around, baring her bloody teeth. The strongest survives, and it seems like you have yet to learn that lesson. Or, she glanced at the wolf's body. Had.
Memphis stumbled backwards. His body said to run, but his mind told him not to leave his father. And Duko. What'll they do to her?
Duko glowered towards Freyja. Her animosity was practically worn on her pelt. I don't care that you won. I don't care if you consider me weak. You're not my alpha, and will never be, cur.
She flicked her ear, not caring much for Duko's words. She had won. Her new pack was bound to grieve, but she would only tolerate this for a small while. You'll learn, Omega.
There was a nasty feeling of alarm that clawed its way into her chest. The power that she once held was being ripped away from her, just like that. You and I both know you calling me that means nothing if I didn't do anything to earn it.
Memphis nosed at Duko's flank. Don't argue with the wolves that killed our alpha. Please. I don't want to lose you too.
And what say do you have in it now? She barked out a laugh. You'd be wise to listen to that wolf. What do they call you?
Memphis, he piped. Thornak's son. His tone was full of hatred.
Memphis, Freyja repeated, running her tongue over her muzzle. Make sure to keep our pack mates in order. Make sure they know that if any of them try to leave, they'll end up like your dear father. Do you understand? Her eyes bore into his skull.
He didn't bother to give a verbal response. He huffed, wrinkling his muzzle into test.
The once Beta's maw pinched shut, for once, as they turned towards Memphis, commiserating. They also said nothing. It wasn't worth it.
Good. Carry on. We'll hunt tonight. Oh, and someone get rid of that corpse. It's already starting to smell.
Cricket unfroze, shakily stepping over to Thornak's body. Koda stared down at his leader's lifeless body. He had no words, just the sinking feeling of dread for the pack's future.
It was far too agonizing to look or smell or even feel anything right now. But what other choice did she have? She hauled Thornak up so that no one would have to linger on the horrific scene any longer.
Memphis stayed behind. He didn't feel comfortable leaving this land unprotected. The former Beta had left, alongside the now dead Alpha. Memphis had to stay.
She padded back up to Memphis. Now you, I find less annoying than Duko. Freyja hummed. You can lead a hunting patrol. Hiro and I have grown hungry after our travels.
They stared. Most of the pack was up bearing the wolf in front of them had killed, and Memphis wanted to stay. But there was no arguing to be had. Fine. I've been told to lead a pack hunt. Memphis' tone was low.
I see. They breathed, their tone lost. Shall we accompany you then?
We should split up and each try to catch a hare. There's no large prey here, so we can prioritize individual catches. He tried to avoid the situation and focus on the task he'd been given.
She simply gave a nod. He'd always been the pragmatic sort.
Koda grunted in acknowledgement. Catching a hare as a wolf was much different than how cats would hunt. He didn't have stealth, but his large strides gave him a speed advantage if he were to get close enough. And luckily, he did. He was so intent on having something to celebrate, it was almost easy to find himself sinking his teeth into a nearby hare. He lifted it with a slight tail wag.
She slunk over the bend of the earth. Memphis.
Memphis huffed a greeting, eyeing the hare Duko had caught.
He gazed around dodgily, ensuring that this was a conversation only for them. I can't continue on living like dirt underneath Freyja's paws.
Memphis tensed. He wanted to point out it hadn't been a day, but Duko was right. Adjusting to this wouldn't be easy, if possible at all. Yeah.
Listen, it was difficult for them to muster the words. What if you and I were to simply just leave?
And the others? Memphis whined. We'd be leaving them to die. And if we all tried to leave? They broke their gaze, shaking their head. We can't do anything without thinking it through, or having a plan.
Duko would usually conceal the anguish in its eyes. Memphis was right. It was just an innocent dream. Okay, but if things continue on like this, I'm leaving.
Don't think like that. Not now. Memphis looked back up at her. Eat something. You'll be able to think clear with a full belly. Let's go.
Duko silently turned its gaze down. Despite everything, it trailed off, walking with Memphis.
Hiro waited, catching whiff of the familiar wolves. Without a word, the beta snatched the hair from Duko, holding it tight in their mouth. Only worthy wolves deserve a hair with the size like this. Hiro simply cut the canine off, a sly smirk forming on his face.
She bit her tongue, one of the harsh truths she'd have to face as an Omega. Fine. So be it then.
Memphis looked over to Duko, feeling like they were a twig about to break. You can have mine, he mumbled.
She muttered a small thank you under her breath, hopefully such that Hiro wouldn't hear. Thank you, Memphis. You truly do have the heart of a saint.
Thank you for what? She sneered, watching as Memphis passed the rabbit towards Duko. You were a beta, and you can't even hunt for yourself. Freyja let out a cold laugh.
As much as she wanted to say something at the dirt-eating arrogance, she couldn't stave off the biting faintness of hunger that tore through her stomach. She was so hungry and so tired. All she could do was run.
Duko! He nearly screamed, bolting after her. Memphis somehow managed to slide in front of them. Please don't leave me here alone.
She growled, Hiro! Duko is running!
Hiro stood immediately at the sound of Freyja's command. They can't run. They weren't supposed to run. A growl rumbled in their throat as they followed.
She heaved, her ragged paws scraping across the earth. I'm starving, Memphis!
Memphis's eyes were stuck wide. Memphis had a feeling this wasn't a hunger that food could satiate. She wanted justice.
Let me cure your hunger, Hiro stated with finality, before growling, permanently. The beta lunged right for Duko, jaws aiming for her throat. With ease, he fastened their teeth into her scruff, just like their father.
Memphis tried to step forward, but once again froze like a startled deer. He caught a glimpse of Freyja standing near, watching like a hawk.
At that moment, Freyja moved next to Memphis, her eyes on the body. I told you what would happen. You should have kept her in line.
There was a sickening thump as Duko hit the ground. She could hardly muster a screech as she attempted to push up against Hiro.
Hiro let go once he felt the Omega's body go limp, seeing the life drained from Duko's eyes. Hiro stepped off once more, puffing.
Part of her had begun to accept this. Thornak. Father.
Memphis didn't wail this time, but if he said nothing, did nothing, the entire pack would be wiped out by these savages.
She glanced at the Omega. We'll handle the body this time. It seems like you've had a long day. Is her trying to be kind in some horrible way?
He didn't reply. He stiffened and walked away, not daring to keep his eyes on Duko for any longer. He tried to warn her. He did warn her. What happened? Is Duko... is she dead? She whimpered. Memphis shuffled a bit. Hiro killed her. All she wanted to do was eat. The words seemed to come from him before anything rang in his mind. I told him not to run. Cricket couldn't come up with a response to that. She inched over closer to Memphis and lay down.
Sorin stammered. All of this was happening so much for him. He started to pace. This is insane. Only a day passed and our pack is in half its numbers. I should have stayed in that cave.
And our second in line is gone. No one to stand up to Freyja, they mumbled.
He whined. They were right. Most of the wolves left were scrawny, weak. Koda was the biggest of the rest of the originals, but they were old, frail. Yeah.
He flopped down and closed his eyes to sleep. Speaking of...
In his despair, he stammered around. We have no chance. We lost Thornak, and who could even compare to that she-wolf? He whined.
Well, Duko was fast, right? She could have run away if Freyja didn't sick Hiro on her. Probably. Cricket looked at the den, thinking hard. We could distract Hiro. We could take him down with 2 wolves and attack Freyja with the others. Cricket started to speak faster. Memphis visibly flinched. Quiet! He sniped accidentally. But you're right. Freyja only won against Thornak because Hiro got involved. If we separate them... Cricket shushed slightly, but continued. If we coordinated it, we could fake an escape. Get Hiro to chase someone and then ambush him. And get Freyja alone. We could take them down. I believe it! Which one of you is willing to risk running? He finally seemed to agree. His head would raise. He couldn't sleep with the chattering.
I mean, I'm quick on my paws. Besides, I've been absent for too long. I want to help where I can, he arfed.
Sorin gets Hiro to chase him. Then Koda helps him to keep Hiro distracted. Then Cricket and I go for Freyja. They'll have no choice but to run. Exactly! Yes! Cricket yipped, then shushed herself. He squinted at the plan, but not anyways. If this was their chance at freedom, then he was on board.
It's all we got, but it might work. I trust you, Memphis. For the pack, we got this. He got pumped.
You think you can take down Freyja? She grinned at Memphis. Yeah. His voice cracked. I owe it to try. Wait until the sun rises. They'll be ready to chase. He turned and lay down, facing the back of the den. He gave a silent prayer, wishing for no more death. She pawed at Memphis's tail, ready to take him down. He woke with a start, frightened, then realized it was just Cricket. Yeah.
The mutt yawned, getting to his paws. Then I guess, see you later, guys. Man, I really love running away! He barked loudly, darting.
Hiro! She howled, so incredibly confused.
On it, he arfed, chasing down the Omega.
He followed, his mind focused on taking Hiro down.
What did I tell you, Memphis? She snapped her head back around as Koda left as well. You need to learn how to...
Almost seemingly out of nowhere, Memphis turned, sending snapping fangs towards Freyja's scruff. Her ears perked at the sound of Hiro's howl beyond the path.
She backed up, eyes wild as she bared her teeth. Her muzzle was still stained pink from the blood of his father. Back off!
Memphis seemed almost excited. Who are you without Hiro, really? He pressed forward, and nearly found confidence fueled by the fear in Freyja's eyes.
She backed up again, bumping into Cricket. Yesterday, while the others were out, she called her weak. Now she felt fearful. She wasn't the only one here with fangs.
Cricket growled, wrinkling her nose. She glanced at Memphis, then jumped at Freyja, digging her teeth into the larger wolf's leg.
The teeth on her leg felt like fire, and Freyja fell to the ground with a pained yelp. Without Hiro, she really did seem weak.
Memphis stepped forward. Would it really be this easy? Did he even have to lay a tooth on her? You can run away on your own if you want to keep the fur on your belt. Nobody will stop you.
She locked eyes with Memphis, a mix of horror and anger dancing between them. Freyja then averted her gaze, lightly kicking Cricket off her.
Cricket let go, backing up and sticking out her tongue. Ugh!
She snapped at her remark, but it was clear she didn't dare hurt either of them. She had lost. I hope winter eats you alive, mutt. Freyja spat before sauntering off.
He knew she couldn't hear him, but he wanted to howl about how he at least had his packmates to keep him warm. She had nothing but her own scent keeping her awake at night. Let's find the others. She's gone, Cricket announced. He watched as Freyja left, lifting his paws so Hiro could follow. The pack had witnessed so much bloodshed ahead. This was Memphis's mercy.
He barked. Yeah, it's stay out!
He looked at the other wolves, bewildered.
He huffed and straightened up, and turned to Memphis. So, what now?
Wherever the moon takes us, he mumbled. Words of his father.